You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Cabral Concept. Great to have you here today on our Friday review, where we are going to go through the best of the week. One of my favorite things to do at the end of the week is to recap how far we've come over the past 5 days or so and share with you a lot of my favorite foods. I'm going to share with you one of those today. I go over book reviews or product reviews, and then, of course, a couple different research-based articles that I think will be really useful to you in your life or something that you can share with your family or loved ones. So what I like to do to start the shows is also go over what we have going on over at Equilibrium Nutrition this week. Just one thing happening, but it's a great one. We just celebrated Halloween yesterday, and what we're doing through this Sunday is offering a free bottle of our CBD Gummies on all purchases over $149. So absolutely free. You won't see it on equilibriumnutrition.com, and the reason you won't see it on there is, unfortunately, we still can't sell CBD oil yet. I'm hoping that in the future, within just a couple of weeks, we will. We're working with multiple processors and working with multiple banks because, believe it or not even a lot of banks will allow you to deposit money from CBD sales as if it was some type of drug-based money or something. It's completely insane, but that is the world that we live in right now, where banks are afraid of the government and fines and all of those things. I don't know how the government's able to, enforce all of these things when these should all be legal. It's plant-based, and we allow so many other drugs and chemicals into the world, but we can't allow CBD that we know that can help people heal in such an amazing way. I don't understand it, but, we're still going. 18 months. We are fighting the good fight to make sure that one day we can get you back the products that are the highest quality CBD out there, using advanced infusion technologies enabling you to get more organically grown CBD or cannabinoids into your body to feel those healing-based effects. We'll get there. We really will. We won't give up, whether it's going to take another 2 weeks or it's going to take another 2 years. We will not give up. We have the products. They are ready to go. And anyway, this week we are giving away a free bottle of our CBD gummies, a big crowd favorite with kids and adults. They come in 5 milligram gummies, and you can get those at equilibriumnutrition.com. We will simply ship them with all orders over $149, and that's United States only. We can't ship them, unfortunately, outside of the U.S. Legally, we are not allowed to do that. So we'll ship it out free of charge in a second shipment, and there you go. All right, so what I want to go over is I want to start, at least for the next couple weeks, sharing with you new foods that I'm trying and I'm really enjoying. So one of my favorite foods that I eat all the time is broccoli. And one of the reasons why I eat broccoli so often is that I feel like I'm making up for lost time. I didn't eat it until I was essentially in college. My mom used to cook it for sure at night, but I never ate it. I would say, I hate broccoli and all these different things, a lot of like what kids do. But I realized, especially studying nutrition in college, that this is a cruciferous-based vegetable that's going to give me fiber, antioxidants. It's going to help my immune system, but it also contains something that not a lot of other foods do to this level, and that's called sulforaphane. And that is why one of the extracts that we use in our daily nutritional support and, of course, in the functional medicine detox is sulforaphane. And that has been shown now in studies with autism. It's shown with studies with cancer, with all sorts of other different things, of how it helps the body and boosts the immune system and detoxification. So, of course, I try to get it, but what I haven't been doing is actually eating the broccoli greens, which are the leaves, the broccoli leaves. And I'll tell you a couple reasons why. A lot of times at grocery food stores, they would sell it without the actual leaves. They would just give you that stalk of broccoli, no leaves, okay? Another thing was if I go to a restaurant or I grab lunch during the day, which I do, that you don't even have the option. They're just giving you the head of the broccoli, which is fine, still great. There's no doubt about it. And that's what I've eaten for pretty much my life. But we've got this great farmer's market. We purchase in Boston, we have a share with this farm called Atlas Farms. I'll give them a little shout out. And they are a great farm. They are in Western Mass and all organic, amazing foods. And they sell the broccoli with the broccoli greens. So lately, at least 3 nights of the week, what my wife has been doing since it's fresh that she's getting it, has been cooking the broccoli with the broccoli greens right in a pan. And what we do is an old Italian way to do it. So you're going to wash the broccoli and it will be wet. And then you just put it in the pan. Now remember, if you're ever using frozen, that's okay. You just throw it right in the pan, and the water will actually be a nice coating for the pan so that it won't stick. Remember, do not use non-stick pans. No Teflon. It's one of the top carcinogens, one of the top cancer-causing materials out there. And this has been proven. This has been written up by the Mayo Clinic and multiple places. Well, okay. Let's move on from that. But if you wash the broccoli because it's fresh and you just pat it dry a little bit, but really you can just toss it right in the pan. Now, along with that, you want to go really low to medium heat. This is a way that my grandmother used to cook, and it's been passed down for many generations. You can add a little bit of organic, first pressed, cold processed olive oil, and you add lemon and garlic to that. Now, here's why. You add the lemon and garlic with the olive oil, and you never cook beyond a medium heat. And the reason you do that is that the lemon and the garlic provide very powerful antioxidants, which allows the very delicate monounsaturated olive oil. It's not a polyunsaturated, so it's not going to break down as easily, but a monounsaturated. It will not allow it to oxidize in the same way if you were to just throw olive oil in there and fry it in a pan. You don't want to do that, okay? You never want to fry oil. That's not good for your body, okay? So here's what we do. We do it at a low to medium heat, a little bit of olive oil. You already have a little bit of water on your broccoli, and then you have your garlic and lemon. You can always add a little bit more olive oil after it's done, which is what I do and my family typically does. So this gives it a delicious flavor. You can add a little bit of Himalayan sea salt or Celtic sea salt or real salt, whatever you'd like to use after your meal. And I'll tell you right now, this is a delicious dish. We've been having this with fish and typically a little bit of, well, we do all sorts of different rice, but black rice is a great one that we'll do in my house. We'll do red rice. We'll do wild rice. We'll do jasmine rice sometimes. Add a little bit of olive oil to that as well. Absolutely fantastic. So that's that, and it makes her a great dish. If you haven't tried broccoli greens yet or broccoli leaves, give them a shot. They're worth it. They're absolutely tender, delicious as you cook them up with your broccoli. Okay, so next up, 2 books. I'm getting ready to head off to World Medicine Week in Germany. Super excited for that. Meeting with a lot of the other doctors from around the world out there that practice biological medicine, and take a look at all of the new different technology devices that they use over in Europe and around the world. So what I'm doing right now in this week, because I love to read and reading a couple books this week. One of them is I'm rereading a book called The Extracellular Matrix and Ground Regulation. It's called A Basis for Holistic Biological Medicine. Biological medicine is basically bioregulatory medicine. And so this is not a book that I would expect. I'm not recommending this for you. I did recommend it for integrative health practitioners who wanted to learn more about cellular biology from what's called the interstitial milieu and the extracellular matrix. Now, before your eyes glaze over, I'm just going to talk about this just for 30 seconds. So I learned as part of an internship that I did what's called live blood microscopy. And I learned about dark field microscopy and all sorts of different ways to look at living blood under a microscope. But before you do that, you actually have to know what you're looking at and how the interstitial milieu or the extracellular matrix, what it means and what it matters. Basically, what that is it's the fluid around the cell that feeds the cell and takes the waste. And nobody really talks about this. This is a biological medicine type of thought process. but it's what your cells bathe in. And remember, like if you took a bath in dirty water, you're really not going to get clean, are you? Right? It's just not going to happen. Well, you want to make sure that your cells are bathing in clean fluid. So we talk about the lymphatic system, we talk about sodium-potassium pump, we talk about how magnesium and zinc interplay with the cell. So I mean, if you want to go deep, it might not be the first book you want to read, but people always ask me, hey, what are you reading and why don't you always talk about these books? And the reason is it's books like this, and this isn't a long read. This is only like maybe 250 pages or so. But anyway, it's a great book, but maybe not for everyone. Okay, but here's another book. So I love reading old school books. This book's not too old school, but it's 40 years old now, and it was written by Dr. Randolph Stone. So he was an osteopathic doctor, and he was also a chiropractor, and I believe he was the founder and developer of polarity therapy. If you haven't heard about polarity therapy, you can definitely check it out online, see if it's something that interests you. I haven't done a lot with it yet, but in 2020, I want to explore new methodologies that I haven't done yet, that I haven't used yet in my own life, and just kind of see how they work for me. And that's being a good, I think, student of health and always exploring what's new. Just a couple years ago, I read the textbook called An Osteopathic Approach to Diagnosis and Treatments, and that was a nice, big, thick textbook if somebody wants to learn more about osteopathic medicine, which has to do with manipulation of soft tissue, not necessarily the joints, but it's a great way. And again, osteopathic doctors are medical doctors. They're licensed doctors. So really great, and they can be primary care physicians as well, just to let you know. So this book is a really short book. It's really not on polarity therapy. It's honestly not. This is about on old school methods. So Dr. Randolph Stone, I believe he was born, I know that he lived to a good age of 91 years old, which is rare. I mean, it really is. Even for natural health-based practitioners, we're not, a lot of people aren't living in their 90s no matter what. So it doesn't, a lot of, it goes back and forth. It's not just how you live your life. There's a lot that goes into that. I want to get into that today. But anyway, goes over purifying diets, goes over kind of like their old school detox diet that I talked about before for the liver cleanse, talks about certain types of stretching. It's a small book. It's an old school based book. Interesting to read. They really are. Why not? You just keep accumulating knowledge. So this is only about 160 pages or so, has some photos in it, shows him at 60 years old doing his stretches and his routines. And this is called Health Building, The Conscious Art of Living Well. Easy read if someone's interested in checking that out. I will link up everything today at StephenCabral.com/1365. StephenCabral.com/1365. I'll put the extracellular matrix and ground regulation in there. I will put in Health Building, The Conscious Art of Living Well in there. And I will put in these next 3 research studies. So 3 research studies for you today. We're going to start off with one that's a little bit more, well, let's say not as uplifting, but we're going to end with a more uplifting research. But you should hear it all, right? Because you want to know all sides to the story. We don't want to have blinders on in life. We want to know what to worry about and then what we can do to heal ourselves and heal others. So here's a study published in Neurology. Pretty important, right? Very important journal. And it was done with over 1,000 people, 1,289 people. And they were all in their 60s, all right? So all in their 60s. And it said this. So this is through Dr. Kaunka, Caunca. Those having a higher BMI, okay, so a little bit more weight than they should be carrying, typically 20, 30 more pounds above their weight, and wider girth, which means a wider waist. And we've talked about this before on BMI, as well as we talked about waist-hip ratio. Check out StephenCabral.com/podcast. You can search for those previous shows. There was having a higher BMI, which is extra weight gain, 20 pounds plus on your frame, and a wider waist was associated with a thinning of the cerebral cortex, which is a region of the brain shown to be associated with cognition. So basically, memory, thought-based process. And what happened was that those with this chronic inflammation, due to being overweight or obese, could be that connection with a decrease in actual memory and an aging of the brain. One of the biggest things that I can share with people is to lose weight, not for vanity-based purposes. Lose it for vanity-based purposes if you'd like. To me, that doesn't matter. I just want you to get to a healthy weight. Because honestly, life is easier at a healthy weight. From every perspective, it's easier to move around. It's easier on your joints. It's easier on your heart and lungs. Think about it. When you're lying down, you have more weight compressing your chest. A good friend and colleague of mine is a world-renowned pulmonologist. Talks about it all the time. Has people come into his office at 300 pounds. The weight is crushing for them to lie down, which is often why they sleep in a recliner, slightly reclined, because it's less pressure on their heart and their lungs. Remember, lose weight for wellness-based purposes. It allows you for the brain and body to be better. That's it. And also, it's going to improve your overall mood. You're going to have more energy. There's no doubt about it. Think about fill up a backpack with 25 extra pounds. If you're holding an extra 25 or 20 extra pounds, wear a weighted vest one day. Think about how much harder it is with that weight on your body. Think about how much lighter you feel when you take off that weighted vest. It's a great thing to do with people. We do it all the time in our training studio as well. After, let's say, 3 months have gone by, someone's lost 25 pounds. Or 30 pounds, we put on that vest on them. We put it right on them and we have them work out with it. We say, this is what you weighed just 3 months ago. We're going to wear this for the workout. How much harder does this workout feel? And they're going to be like, you have to be kidding me. Like, this is terrible. And it reinforces the idea that they never want to go back. It's a great trick. If you're a personal trainer out there, get yourself a weighted vest that you can adjust for your client's weight loss and show them even how 10 pounds, 20 pounds, 30 pounds can be monumental on their overall energy, joints, inflammation, etc. Okay, so that's the more dismal one. But remember, just last week I gave you, it was on episode 1355. Boost your brain function with these 7 foods and lifestyle factors, 1355. And that was a part 2 from 1348 for the 7 foods and lifestyle factors that damage your brain. So if you want to know more about how to prevent dementia, Alzheimer's, brain-related issues, check out those 2 shows, okay? All right, so let's give you 2 more here today on the happier side. So those that have a cancerous-based tumor can actually slow that growth tremendously. And this was shown this is in rats, but it was still a very well done study in the Journal of Nature Communications that showed that some of the cells that promote tumor growth were actually disabled and shut down, and the immune system was boosted when the brains of mice were stimulated to produce more dopamine, kind of that happy, feel-good, focus, ambition, get up and go type energy. So if we can do things, whether it's through exercise, which is going to help boost dopamine, or I did a podcast on how to boost dopamine, so you can check out that podcast as well. Maybe we'll try to link that up today at stevencabral.com/1365. So what we want to do is, again, things aren't good when we're not feeling well. There's no doubt about it. It's hard to pull yourself out of there. But if you can do things that you're just going to go through the motions that would boost dopamine, that would boost mood, I can't recommend it enough. All right, one more today. This is from the book, Tiny Habits, The Small Changes That Change Everything. I don't believe that I've ever read this book before. I can't recall that I have, but it was written by B.J. Fogg, who's a PhD and the founder and director of Behavior Design Lab at Stanford University, California. Obviously, a pretty prestigious university. Well, in his book, Tiny Habits, The Small Changes That Change Everything, he said that as soon as you put your feet on the floor in the morning, say, this is going to be a great day. It's a very small thing, but it can have a huge impact on how happy and satisfied you feel in your life. And that's based on his research as a PhD. So how difficult is it, I should say, to, when your feet hit the floor, to simply say, this is going to be a great day. It's something that I use myself. And again, I haven't read this book, but I've read other things like it that say you need to manually put yourself in the mindset and mood that you want for that day. It's why if you go back and you listen to my morning ritual, every day I start my day with motivation. Whether I'm jumping out of bed with motivation or I'm not, it doesn't matter. It's all part of my routine. This is going to be a great day. I don't say this is going to be a great day. I say today's going to be a great day. It's going to be a great day. I feel great. Even if I don't feel great, I say I feel great. I could be a little groggy. I could be whatever. I feel great. I could have just done an overnight flight like I'm going to do from Boston to Germany, and I can say, hey, I feel great. I feel great. If I have a little tickle in the back of my throat, I feel great. I feel great, even if I don't. Why? Because it costs me nothing. It doesn't hurt me, and is beginning to rewire my mind. And if we see right here in that last study in Nature Communications, if we can rewire our mind, produce more dopamine, it's going to disable cancer-based cells and other poor parts of the body, and it's going to boost the immune system. I feel great. My body's going to respond to, okay, what do we need to do to make this character feel great? Okay, we need to boost immunity. So again, there's no downside. You can check out his book called Tiny Habits, The Small Changes That Change Everything. I'll link that up today at stephencabral.com/1365. That's what we have for today on our Friday review. Hopefully you've checked out the past week. I went over how to find your reason for being. On Monday, your ikigai. On Tuesday, I went over the 13 anti-aging and longevity habits. On Wednesday, the 7 foods that feed your thyroid to boost your thyroid and metabolism. Yesterday was why you gain more weight more easily as you age. So check out those shows from the past week at stephencabral.com/podcasts. And don't forget to check out this coming weekend's shows called our Cabral House Calls, where we answer anywhere between 10 and 20 questions each weekend from our community on their wellness, weight loss, anti-aging, or health coaching-based goals. And I'm happy to do that and love doing that each weekend. So hopefully this has been helpful. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. I appreciate you. Have an amazing weekend, and I'll be sure to report soon from Germany for World Medicine Week. Take care, everyone. Did you know that the body really only becomes sick or imbalanced in only 2 ways? Over time, you become deficient in vital nutrients, and you also accumulate toxins internally and from the environment. As those nutrients diminish and you increase your total toxic load, your body then begins to show the first signs of dis-ease. It's actually quite predictable, and the good news is that if we know how you began to fill up that proverbial rain barrel, we also know how to empty it to begin the healing process. I was fortunate enough to learn this ancient healing process from my mentor after suffering from debilitating diseases for close to a decade. It was only when I began to implement these techniques did I finally overcome my illnesses and go on to live a life of energy and vitality that I now enjoy. I'd like to share with you now what I discovered after traveling all over the world and how to combine the best of ancient healing wisdom with state-of-the-art science. Allow me to teach you exactly how I've been able to help over 250,000 people to empty their rain barrel and begin to transform their body and lives into what they've always hoped they could be. To get your copy of the international bestseller, The Rain Barrel Effect, simply go to stephencabral.com/rainbarrel.